We're here to give back and celebrate iWarriors. This is our 8th annual iWarriors golf outing. Let's hear it for 8 years. What is iWarriors? We're here because of iWarriors. iWarriors was started by Kim and Tim Bartz from Moldcraft. Amazing people. Their influence and application in the industry is amazing. And they decided that they wanted to give back. They had a vision of helping our military and what that would look like. And their way of doing that was to give iPads to combat wounded veterans to say thank you. There are over 25 sponsors for this event, including Molded Marketing LLC, Punch Industry, Inco, Mold Making Technology, United Tool and Mold, Durachrome, NGN, Legacy Precision Molds, Mastic, Pulco, Joseph Motorgun Associates, Cimatron, SPE Mold Technologies Division, Reaction Plastic Solutions, AMBA, Slide Products, Standard Cutting Solutions, Chandler Tool, International Mold Steel, Falcon Plastics, and Westminster Tool, and that is... You know, if you've ever been to this outing, you know that this is not about the score, it's not about winning, it's not about any of that. Remember that you're out here for a reason other than golf. You're out here to network, you're out here to have fun, and more importantly, you're out here to give back to those veterans.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tony DeMakis with Alliance Specialties and Alliance Laser Sales, where we are your mold makers that don't build molds. It sounds dumb when we say it, but it makes sense when it gets put into practice, right? We do all the things that you, the mold maker, don't have time to do. The polishing, the laser welding, laser engraving, hot runner repair, preventative mold maintenance, did I say hot runner repair? I think I did. I got distracted for a hot second. And then we also build and sell the only American-made laser welding and laser engraving systems for mold repair, for production welding. It's all done here right where I am, not in this office, but in our Prairie Grove Laser Development Center. We love it here. And we love serving our people. We love giving back. We love trying to make a difference. And one of the ways that we do that is with our golf outing. You just watched a promo clip for our golf outing. It is a time to go out and have fun. And if you can't golf, great. None of us can. We all suck. That is the reality of most people that go out and play golf. They're really just doing it to go have some fun and network. And that's really what we're doing. The main purpose is for us to be able to give back to our combat wounded veterans. And the way that we do that is we partner with iWarriors and we supply iPads for those that went off to war and suffered injuries or complications or whatever that looks like. And you might ask why. Why is an iPad so important? It's so important because it allows our veterans to remember that we remember them, to know that what they put out there has value. And it allows them to communicate with their loved ones if they're in the hospital. There are special apps on the iPad to help with PTSD and excuse me, exercises for brain repair and brain exercise and things like that. So we are still looking for sponsors. We're still looking for golfers. We're looking for people that want to come out and have some fun and not take things seriously. We don't keep track of the score. When I tell you that this is not about the golf, it's really not about the golf. It's about making a difference for the people that matter. And so we want you to come out and join us. We think it'll be a great time. September 19th here in Illinois. You can go to the website alliancegolfouting.com or just scan that QR code and come out and play with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Another way that we give back is through donating money to the Tim Tebow Foundation. For every laser welding or laser engraving machine sold, we want to put an end to human trafficking and the trafficking of children. And the way that we're going to do that is through the Tim Tebow Foundation and working with him to eradicate that. So if you're looking for a welding solution for your shop, you're tired of outsourcing it, you're tired of downtime and waiting to get stuff back. Good news. You don't have to. You can bring in your own fiber laser welding machine that is built here in the United States, and then you can help out a cause. You can help end human trafficking, which is something that we all really want. Coming up on my radar is the National Plastics Association Conference. It is September 22nd through the 25th in Orlando, Florida. Whitney Tavares was on a couple weeks ago, and we talked exclusively about this. We spent a lot of time talking about why the conference is important, who's going to be there. It's the people that are involved in plastic. So if you have a say in plastic, right, you don't know how you feel about it, you work in plastics, come and see what the boards are talking about. Come and see what the people that are investing are doing and trying to say about plastic waste and sustainability and the tariffs and all the stuff, right? All the things that are really important to us as manufacturers. It's going to be a great week. They have speakers, they've got board members, they've got all kinds of things that are happening. There's an opportunity to go out and clean up waste and plastic and give back through Flip. The leaders in plastics, the future leaders in plastics. There's so many reasons to go and attend. And me being there is not even one of them, but you should go. You should go and see what it's all about. It'll be great to see you there. So I hope you can make it. And then after that, almost right after that, we're going to be in Boston for Med Device Boston. It is September 30th through October 1st. And it's going to be an opportunity to learn what's going on in the world of med device and getting your products made, right? We're going to have expert-led technical sessions on the latest innovations, immersive hands-on workshops so you can test drive cutting-edge medical technologies. There's going to be tracks on regulatory compliance, growth and investment, medtech technologies, and so much more. There's built-in networking time so that you can figure out how to get your stuff made. Full service breakfast is included. Everybody loves to eat. And we're going to have some great speakers. There's going to be some great speakers there. Chief Safety Officer of Johnson & Johnson, MedTech, CCO from Best Buy Health, the executive from Boston Scientific, and so much more. And here's the good news. If you buy your passes in the next 2 days before August 30th, you're going to save $200. And Med Device is also offering 30% off when you purchase group passes. So join us. Come see me. Come see the Alliance booth, everything we have to offer at MedTech Boston, Med Device Boston, September 30th through October 1st. It is at the BCEC Boston Center. It's going to be a transformative experience, combining thought leadership and practical application. So get your tickets at meddeviceboston.com. We can't wait to see you there. And last but not least, let's talk about my coffee guys. I don't drink coffee, not a coffee drinker, not my jam, but everybody loves shop floor coffee. It's not that, typical shop office swill. It's good stuff. It's quality product. And if you want to give your team quality product, then look at shopfloorcoffee.com. What I also love about them is they care about giving back. And so a portion of their sales also go to to local charities. So if you're looking to upgrade your coffee game, go to shopfloorcoffee.com and put in the code ALL10 for 10% off your offer. That's all we have for announcements and housekeeping. I'm excited about today because I always love when it's the first time I get to talk to somebody, right? Like I have no backstory with this person. We've kind of connected on LinkedIn and that's it. But literally the only conversation that we've ever had was 5 minutes before we started playing the video. And so it's going to be new for all of us. So if you are joining us, do me a favor and say hello in the chat. Put your name, put your company name, put what you're here for, what you want, what you're hoping to learn. And as the conversation is going on, just remember that this is live. And so if you want to chime in, you have questions, we want to answer those questions. We don't want to just talk at you. We want to talk with you. And so the Manufacturing Alliance podcast is always a platform for a conversation and sharing ideas and growing together. So I'm going to bring in our guest today. His name is Alex Bolan. And here he is. Alex, how are you, my friend?
Dude, I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little tired. Mentioned to you a little while ago, we've got a 2.5-year-old and a 5-month-old, and sleep is a inconsistent luxury, I guess I could say at this point.
Yeah.
So a little tired, but we're good, man. It's a beautiful day. It's beautiful in South Carolina today, and I really can't complain too much than that.
Not only that, but at that age, those kids are so cute.
They are. Yeah.
You know, it's when they get
hard to be
older.
mad at 'em.
It's when they get older and you go, listen, you're not even cute anymore. You're just a pain. Like I only love you because you're mine. You're awful. You used to be adorable. Now you just give me a headache.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't happen to you.
Hopefully not, but I'm gonna relish and bask in the glory that is this age right now. That way, I can cling to these memories when I do have headaches in the future, because I'm sure they're inevitable. Like we all were little knuckleheads as teenagers and young adults. I'm sure it's going to come back to me sooner than I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Are the kids good sleepers?
So the 2.5-year-old, a little boy Jack, he's starting to get better. He's and we still have maybe he'll wake up once or twice in the night, but he'll go back to sleep pretty easily. But he was a hard sleeper from the beginning. Like from day one, it was rocky for about 2 years. But our youngest, our little girl, she was doing really great up until about 4.5 months. And now it's, they have like these regressions, and it's so inconsistent. So like 2 nights ago, slept all night, life was great. Last night I think we were up like every 2 hours. So you just rolling the dice, and it's all good. They can't help it, so we just gotta roll with the punches.
So when you say that you were both up every 2 hours, is that just like you taking turns getting up, or if like you have a rule where if one of you gets up, you both have to get up, it's teamwork, or do you go in shifts?
That's a good question, man. So my wife, she bears a lot of the responsibility here, and sometimes she'll let me sleep when the kid wakes up, so she's up a little bit more than me per se. But there's just some nights where like the kid will wake us both up, and I just like I'm laying there and I have this huge sense of guilt of like I can't go back to sleep. Like my wife has just been crushing it and so selfless with me and the baby. And so I have a little bit of a call to, once she gets done feeding the baby, I'm like, give her to me. I'll stay up and, get her back to sleep and get her back in the bassinet so she can catch whether it's an extra 20, 30 minutes or sometimes an hour. Right. So like last night, for example, I think the kiddo woke up around midnight, and I just, after she got done feeding, I told Emma, my wife, I said, just give her here. I'll stay up for a couple hours and I'll just tough it out. You need more sleep than I do. So that sounds so altruistic. It's really not. I just I care for my wife and my kids, and so I want to try to help out where I can. I have a hard time sitting idly by, if you will.
It's a team effort. It's absolutely a team effort. I know that I have some friends that, they would have kids, and if their wife got up to feed the baby, then they would get up with their wife and like sit by their wife and like, and the way that Kelly and I always did it was like, we're doing this in shifts, right? Like, if she generally did the weekdays because she was home, And on the weekends, I would let her like try and catch up on all the sleep. And I would do all the late feedings, or, I would do the one before bed so that like throughout the night.
Yeah.
And then as the kids got older, she would wake up tired. And I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, the kids were in here multiple times. I'm like, they were?
They were?
I had no idea. I didn't hear a thing.
Wow, I love it. Yeah, that could be me. It probably will be me soon, but I'll tell you the biggest thing, and you may be able to resonate with this. I'm sure a lot of people do, right? Like kid number one, um, I was up because I was just like, I don't want Emma to fall asleep with the kid while she's feeding, and an accident happened, and we're just so hyper aware. And then kid number two rolls around, and all of a sudden you're on like man to man defense here, because if
Yeah.
the baby wakes up, I need to be ready to go be with Jack if he wakes up, and so the dynamic shifts. And you're right, like it does take a little bit of a team effort of figuring out that rhythm and that pattern, but it's been a lot more heavy on me with the toddler and her with the baby. But we're finally getting to a point where not that it's mixed up more. For a while the baby just only wanted mom, right? Just only wanted
Yeah.
Emma. And so now we're getting to a point where she's letting me rock her to sleep again, and I'm really happy about that. I like the bonding time too, but now though it's I told Emma, I was like, one of us needs to be sleeping. We both can't be tired because we've we've got two of them now. Somebody needs to be rested, cognizant, and alert, while the other person is just surviving. And if like we got to tag team it, so be it. We'll figure it out. But we got to work together on this one. Yeah.
And that's a lot like work, right? I mean, we can pivot this right into a work conversation really easily. Like you have to be fresh and focused in order to be your best at work, just like you have to be fresh and focused to be at your best to be a parent, to make proper decisions, to be able to do what's best for the good of the organization or your family. You can't do that on zero.
No, it's impossible, right? It's it enters so much variabilities that get amplified, like safety, for example. Even if you have an office job, just a good old cushy corporate job, right? Like maybe you still commute, but if you're operating at zero, that drive to work is now like what, 50 times more dangerous than it was before, just because you're operating at a lower level. And then like you said, decision making too, it gets to be very burdensome. I had an experience probably, I don't know, maybe about a month ago. We really had a rough week of sleep. It was like both kids just really weren't sleeping this week. And I was sitting down here at my desk on a Thursday afternoon at like 1 o'clock. And I just, my inner self said, self, you just can't make any more decisions. Like you're so tired that just even the thought of having to physically click on my browser to open the next window was like just beyond exhausting, getting very emotional. And you have to recognize those moments to be able to take a minute to step back. Like again, both family and work life, right? Like when you know you're operating at a disadvantage, so to speak, with, let's say, lack of sleep, you need to be self-aware, because you not only want to get yourself hurt, anybody else around you hurt. But if you need to take a step back and regroup and take a breather, if people fault you for that, they're not good leaders. And I don't want to, say that everybody has bad leaders, but good leaders can understand that you need to take a minute to regroup, because if you're consistently operating at 10%, that's helping nobody.
Right.
But if you can take a day or two to regain yourself back to 60, 70, 80%, it's time well spent, time well invested. It's good preventative or preventive maintenance for the body, mind, and soul, right?
And that's a big part of what we're going to talk about, is that idea of maintenance and prevention. I know there's times where I'll come back into work after a road trip or a long trade show, and I'll just come in and touch base, like flight lands, or you get back from the road trip and you come in and you just walk through, make sure everybody's doing okay. It's like touching base with people, and inevitably somebody's like, hey, can I talk to you about this thing? And they'll go on for a little bit, tell me what's going on, and then want a decision. And my answer on those days is, this is a no decision day. Like, we'll talk about this tomorrow. This is like a fact finding mission. Now, if there's something that absolutely needs to be made, sure, I'll call my partner. We'll talk through what that's going to be, and then we'll make a decision. But generally, I need to listen to my body and say, like, I'm foggy today, and any decision I make is probably not going to be the best decision. I might get lucky, but today is a no decision day. Tomorrow we'll tackle that thing. Today is just what's going on. How are people doing? What needs are there? Is everything okay? Let's move forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about you. I believe that we have a lot in common. What is, first of all, who is Alex Bolan? Like, what's your background?
Man,
I know,
where to
loaded
begin?
question.
Yeah, no, it's good. I've actually been spending a lot of time, and I don't want to say a lot, some time in self-reflection over the last week of just where my life was, let's say, 15 years ago, as about a 14, 15-year-old little knucklehead in high school, to where I am now. I'm 33. I keep forgetting I'm 33. I think I'm like 36 some days, but I just stopped counting when I hit 30, right? So, and, and I also had a wise man once tell me that, we were, at the time I was 20, I think, and we were joking about age, and he's much older than me. It was I was actually EMT for a while, and I'll touch on that in a second. But he was my paramedic partner, and he said, he's like, buddy, I may look young and you may look young, but it's the miles on the
Mm,
belt, not the age of the vehicle right here. And boy, there's a lot of miles on this belt. And that's something I jokingly say a lot is, I unfortunately look a little rugged. I got fair skin. I spent a lot of time in the sun, so I look a little a little weathered, but got a lot of life miles under the belt. And so anyway, I've just been reflecting through some things. So to give kind of the cliff notes, my father, Tony Bolan, started our company, DigitalThinker, 22 and a half years ago.
okay.
And I think I was 6 years old at the time. So I was pretty young. I distinctly remember the events that led up to this, though. My dad was a plant manager for a electronic manufacturing facility here in Simpsonville, South Carolina. And my dad also served in the South Carolina National Guard for 20 some odd years, honorably, and was a communications officer or signal officer. And I think it was 1999. The electronic factory lost a government contract, and so they laid everybody off. And so my dad lost his job. And I'll never forget getting picked up from private school. I was going to Pleasant Grove Christian Academy at the time. This is a tiny school, and my mom was telling me all about it, and I was trying to comprehend. But what I remember most was the pivot that my dad made, which was he became
Mm,
a MP2 consultant, an old CMMS. I say old CMMS, but it's a legacy system that came out in the mid 90s, and the company that developed it, DataStream, was headquartered here in Greenville, South Carolina. And so my dad, at I think early 40s, restarted his career and became a software consultant for maintenance management within manufacturing, and he just loved it. And
mm.
fast forward about, I don't know, maybe 3 years. My dad got out of the National Guard, which that's a wild story. He got his retirement papers, I think, 6 months before 9/11. So it was,
Oh
2001.
wow.
And he luckily didn't have to be a part of any of that, global war on terrorism effort. I got lucky, so if you want to call it lucky, and I got to do a combat tour during the GWAT phase. But anyway, he in four was about to buy DataStream and their product D7i at the time, which is now known as Enterprise Asset Management, which is owned by Hexagon. It's changed, a couple names. And anyway, um, my dad told himself that he could probably do a better job being self-employed, starting his own business as a consultant, and just living the American dream, right? Like just making his own future. And so that's what he did for till today. Still is very involved, right? But anyway, I was young, and when I graduated high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life.
Like so
So
many
my
high school students, right? Like
oh yeah,
it's the biggest farce when they tell these junior and seniors in high school, like you have to have your
yeah,
whole career planned out before you. What are you going to be?
mhm,
What are you going to go to college for? What are you going to major in? Like, how do you know? How do you know? Like
yeah,
I'm 47 right now, and I feel like it shifts all the time. Like where's my
yeah,
focus going to be? What is this going to look like?
yeah.
So of course you had no idea what you were going to do.
Yeah, and going back to the knucklehead era, like school was very difficult for me, not because I just didn't apply myself, and school was very boring for a lot of
Yep.
us, right? Like I
Same.
just I was not an exceller when it came to it. I just got by, did my thing. But my brother, he was I think he was an EMT, maybe he was a paramedic at the time
Okay.
for our local county 911 system. He called me up one day and he said, "Hey, come ride on the ambulance with me one day. Let's just see if you like it. Just see if you enjoy it. So I said,
Yep.
okay. Went out and did a shift with him, and I discovered a passion for helping people that I still carry today. So as soon as I got off the bus the next day, I went to the local technical college, Greenville Tech, enrolled in the EMT program and got my EMT. I got very lucky and got hired as an EMT basic with Greenville County EMS, and I did that for a handful of years until I reached a tipping point. And they say the average shelf life of EMTs paramedics is about 6-7 years. I did it for about 5.5, 6 years, and I just I had enough. And we could spend all day talking about why that was, but
I mean, it's got to
the
be,
long
that's a hard life. I mean, the things that you see, the things you got
yeah
to go through, the experiences, it's not something that I would want to do. I wouldn't excel at that at all.
you're right. It's tough. I think where I flourished was it was high stakes scenarios, right? Like
Mm.
we had to make critical decisions on the fly with very limited information. So,
It's a good thing you
you
didn't
go
have
through
kids
train.
then.
Yeah, right. Good thing I didn't. Good thing I was a 18, 19-year-old little punk who was sleeping great and
Yeah,
didn't have a care in
exactly.
the
You got
world.
plenty of
Yeah.
rest.
Felt like I was Superman just walking into random homes without a care in the world. I look back at it now like, gosh, what were you thinking, dude? But you show up on scene and you have sometimes less than a minute to assess a patient, probably having one of the worst days of their life, right?
Mhm.
What insert any form of medical emergency, and so over time you get good at it, but you got to assess the situation incredibly fast. You need to
Yep.
start acting immediately and multitasking. So not only while you're physically acting, whether that's placing somebody on oxygen, taking a blood pressure, or starting chest compressions, or whatever it may be, you need to start asking questions and listening using your ears to ascertain what happened to get us to the situation today, whether it's a like Hollywood moment 911 incident, or even if it's just grandma who's feeling sick today and she doesn't have a ride, so she can't get to the hospital or can't get to the doctor, or she's just scared. You really need to listen to the people,
Right.
listen with intent, and give them your utmost and divided attention, give them confidence, earn their trust. And that, I think, set the foundation for what the rest of my life was going to be. So anyway, I left the EMS world. I had a few odd jobs here and there, and then I enlisted in the United States Army Reserves. Um, Totally different path in the Army. I'm a 42 Alpha, which means I'm a human resources specialist. But I have a special skill identifier called Fox 5, which means I do military postal operations. So I'm basically the mailman of the army. So when I served my tour in Afghanistan, I was running the mail, what's called the Regional Mail Distribution Center at a Bagram, and then we would go out and do what's called rodeo missions and provide mail services on smaller fobs or outposts within the country. And then as the drawdown, I was in 2020, not too long ago actually, but as the drawdown came, we scaled back. And anyway, so I've been in the Army Reserves for coming up on 9 years now, almost 10, and got back from my deployment. I was looking for a job, so I did a little bit of executive recruiting, headhunting engineers for startup manufacturing, and loved it.
Hmm.
And then my dad asked me one day if I had any ambitions or thoughts or wants to join the family company. And at first, I was like, maybe. I don't know. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I can do this, and I don't know. I don't know if I can find the passion, and I don't know if I'm going to uphold his legacy, right? Like, there was a lot of self doubt that came into it. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Dad's kind of asking for a little bit of help, but he's also deserved this time to live life. And if there's anything I can do to help out, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try.
Yeah.
And so that brought me into Digital Thinker, where we are today, which is a alliance and channel partner for Hexagon's enterprise asset management, or Hexagon EAM. Like I said, we resell the software. We provide the implementation, training, coaching, integration. Insert any component you may need with the software. We can help and facilitate and support that. But we're also trying to drive into the new age of today, adapt, right? And so we're adding a few other products to our portfolio to become experts in, while also everybody on the team becoming a little bit more familiar and becoming better subject matter experts in operational excellence, maintenance management, asset management, reliability, I don't think we're ever going to claim to be a reliability company or an actual maintenance company, right? But we need the knowledge, and we're all very hungry. And so that's the cliff notes to bring us almost quite literally to today.
Nice. I love
So
that. I love that.
yeah.
And so for people that may not know, people like myself, you mentioned Hexagon. What is Hexagon, and how do those things play together?
Yeah, so Hexagon is a $22 billion a year company you've probably never heard of.
So it's a small place.
They yeah, it's very very small amount of annual revenue.
Yeah.
But Big Hexagon has I think like 6 or 7 divisions these days, and they Swedish-based company that supports manufacturing from automated manufacturing to devices, geoscanning. There's just so much that they do.
Sure.
But our software falls under what's called the Asset Lifecycle Intelligence Division, and the ALI division represents the software branch of Hexagon. And so they just announced actually this year that the ALI division is going to be spinning off into its own company called Octave. And
Okay.
that'll be effective January of this year. So it's going to be just a name change. I don't think anything is going to change outside of that. But um, that's what Hexagon is, and that's what they do. And under the ALI division, there's a plethora of software solutions that support not only asset intense industries, but manufacturing, utility providers, 911, communications. There's just a lot. And so we fit in a very small piece of the pie, but it's still a very important piece of the pie of manufacturing, which is asset management. Are we maintaining our equipment? Are we tracking the asset lifecycle costs from cradle to grave? And are we capturing enough information to make good decisions, whether it's decommissioning, capex investment and planning, or asset investment planning? Right? There's a lot of moving pieces that go along with it, and if we're still, I don't want to say using outdated, but if we're just not doing a good job of capturing that information, then we can't make good decisions on how we're going to manage our XYZ manufacturing company in the future.
It's all about having the right data, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
you cannot make good decisions with bad data.
Yeah. And it's, that statement, it feels, I don't know. I've said it a lot, so it feels a little elementary to me at this point, but I keep getting reminded how challenging it is to really capture good data. It's
Yeah.
hard. And what makes it hard is it's not the technology. Well, sometimes it can be the technology component. Technology can make it hard, but more times than not, it's a people. Let's
Yes.
call it a people problem, and it's not necessarily blaming the end users or the technician levels for inputting bad data. It's just sometimes they just didn't get good guidance, or change management
Sure.
wasn't effective, or they just company didn't invest in training, so they dropped an iPad on Bob and said, here you go. And well, Bob hates iPads, so of course he's not going to enter in any good data or use it at all, right? So it's forgetting the people element and making sure that we cater to them to make them successful. I think that's where we see a big gap in data capturing and data loading and all that other good stuff.
And part of it is just understanding the importance of that data, right?
Yeah.
There are people that don't understand why it's so important to capture all that data. It could be anything. It could be how much time you're putting on a job. It could be building
Yeah.
a machine and how much time is going into that. How many hours are on a machine? Any of those things matter because they skew your data going forward, right? If you don't know how many hours you put on a job, then at the end of it, you don't know if it's what it should cost. You don't know if you took too long on it. You don't know if you burned right through it and you made a ton of profit. You don't know if there's money that you can give back to the customer. You don't have the information that you need to go and then make an educated decision for the best end result for yourself and for your customer or whoever that is. And a lot of times it's not malicious. It's maybe an
No.
unknowing, right? Like people think they're doing the right thing by like, I don't want to put all 5 hours on this. I'm going to say I worked 3 hours. Well, no, like I need to know that there were 5. And then
Yeah.
if collectively we decide we're going to take 2 off, then we'll take 2 off. But if you don't know that on the front side, then you can't show that value to the customer, right? You can go to the customer and say, we put 5, 6, 7 hours on this thing. But part of that was our fault. We're going to take off a couple hours because this is how long it should have taken. If you don't know that on the front side, on the back side, then you're in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Our youth group used to say it all the time: garbage in, garbage out. And it goes with your life, and it goes with your business, and it goes with everything else.
Yeah.
If you're putting in trash data and trash information, then you're not going to function, and you're not going to give out the proper output that you need for success.
I totally agree. So it's funny you mentioned that. We obviously started this conversation about family and how just not being at your best can affect your work life, and then obviously we get into a little bit about just what we do, but more importantly, the importance of like your work
Yeah.
and where you fit in the picture. So one thing I've been reflecting on recently is the what it's called the NCO creed, or the creed of the non-commissioned officer in the U.S. Army. And for, I mean, those that have served in the Army and you became an NCO E5, sergeant, staff sergeant, and above, this was beat into your head until you could recite it in your sleep, and it's almost cringy at this point because you've said it and heard it so much. But I jokingly say, I drink the Kool-Aid from time to time, because when it's just part of who I am. But the NCO creed has been very front and center in my mind recently, because it talks about integrity, talks about being, it begins, no one is more professional than I. So you're already setting the standard for yourself, and then everybody else around you, because everything about being an NCO is, silly terms of leading from the front, um, you know, being being the example of what right looks like, taking care of your soldiers, taking care of your people. But the NCO creed is not just an Army applicable type of creed to go after. You can, I think, insert that into how you lead your family, how you lead, within your organization. You also don't have to have a manager or a leader title to be a leader within your company.
Correct.
Nobody's stopping you from being a leader within your company, except yourself, maybe. And then also within your community, right? So after thinking about this a lot, I'm going to put it into like a presentation. I don't know. I'm going to do something with it. But the point I was getting to that with this is, there's a line, and I pulled it up on my screen here, and I'm trying to find it. It is, let's see. I'm so sorry. I'm on the fly
No,
here.
don't worry about it.
Oh,
this is what happens when there's no prep work beforehand. On my part,
Yes,
not on
exactly.
your part. On both of our parts.
Yes, exactly. Okay, here's the line. So this is the line. So the line is, I will not use my grade, which is your rank. I will not use my grade or position to attain pleasure, profit, or personal safety. And so for me, that says, I am going to do what's right, even when nobody is looking. And then there's another line, and I can't find it right now, but it's something along the lines of, I will not let anything compromise my, oh, here we go. I will not compromise my integrity nor my moral courage, which means you're not going to obviously compromise your integrity, but you're not going to be afraid to speak up when something's not right. And so why did I talk about all of that? It goes back to data input, or how are we managing our assets? How are we executing maybe our maintenance strategy or asset management strategy? And it can feel like I'm a small cog in a big machine within these organizations, but everything you do has a significant impact. If you don't have the moral courage to stand up and say, I've worked on this piece of equipment 18 times over the last 2 weeks, and it's a safety hazard, somebody's going to get hurt. And then whether you have, the guilt of, I didn't say anything, I should have said something. That's one element of it. But the other component is, like, people need to know. It's like you're going back to saying, like, we need to report the right amount of time that we did this, because we need to just have accurate and honest data. And I think that's, again, going back to the people element of encouraging and reinforcing, and not only being good leaders, but promoting good cultures where you can see something and say something without fear of retribution, because you want to take some ownership of what not only your job is, but the company you work for. You don't have to be like me and drink the Kool-Aid constantly. You just want to do a good job, and maybe you want to get promoted, maybe you want to get a pay raise, maybe you want to make it a safer workplace for everybody else. And you can't do that if you just sit idly by every day. If you just clock in, clock out, not my problem, not my job, you're helping nobody. You're not even helping yourself at that point, And so anyway, that's a little bit of
you're really not. And say it's a machine that's broken, and you're frustrated that this machine is broken again. Well, if nobody knows that the phrase again is there, right? Like nobody
Yeah.
knows that it broke the first time and you found a workaround or you Googled something and you got it fixed. And, it's happened 2 or 3 times and now you don't know what else to do because you've tried all the things. And then you go and you say, listen, this is broken again. As the leader, you're going, "Oh, what do you mean again? When's the first
Yeah.
time? Like, why didn't I know the first time this happened? Again, to your point, not so that you could be like, what did you do? Why'd you break this? But okay, cool. How did it happen? What happened? How do we fix it? What's the right way to fix it? How do we make sure it doesn't happen again? There doesn't have to be anger when stuff like that goes wrong. It's a matter of
Mhm.
learning from it and saying, okay, this thing happened.
Yes.
How did it happen? Why did it happen? How do we make sure it doesn't happen again? Like those are the questions that you have to ask.
Yeah.
I get more frustrated as an owner and as a leader when somebody now I like when something goes wrong and somebody finds a solution for it, right?
Sure.
Um, but I also want them to bring it to my attention so I know, right? Like, hey,
Yeah.
Tony, this thing happened. Don't worry, not a big deal. We found a solution. This is what we're going to do. Are you good with that? Cool. Great. I
Yeah.
love that, right? Um, that's way better than this is broken. You handle it. Like, I don't want to do that. Um, or like the workaround, something breaks and maybe that's the worst part, right? Like something breaks and you go out
Yeah.
and you're like, when did this happen? Oh, this was like a week ago. Well, was anybody going to say anything? Like, how did this
Yeah.
happen? Do we know who did it? Like, my favorite thing is when somebody comes over and they'll say, hey, I was working on this thing. I'm sorry. Uh, Such and such thing happened. It broke. I backed the car into the forklift. Whatever it is, right? But just be honest and open about it so that we can recognize what it is, we can get it fixed, and we can say, okay, how did this happen and how do we make sure it doesn't happen again?
Exactly. So that's, I think that's something. Well, on the shop floor, on the plant level, that's one thing, and it's. I think a lot of people can agree that's a good culture to aspire to get to.
Mm-hmm.
I think something that frustrates me within our industry, and let me specifically say like the vendor industry, the vendor provider. So all of the
Okay.
software solutions, the what feels like every other day a new IoT device company is getting stood up because there's an opportunity in the market and they find some money and they can go
Yep.
build a device. Which good for you, right? Like I'm all about individuals finding their way to success. But I think what's frustrating to me is there's a lot of us out here, and yeah, we're all trying to make a dollar. We're trying to do what's right, maybe for the most part. But what I see time and time again, and I will say, myself, and my organization have been guilty of this too, is like when things are going wrong on a software implementation, we're about to go over budget, maybe we're stalled, or I don't know, just there's anything that could be going wrong with any digital transformation project, which by the way, like 78% of them fail, so that's just
Sure.
inherently something's going to go wrong no matter what. um, you need to like you just need to own up to it. You just need to, it may cost you a little bit of money, right? But like if you want to have a good partnership and a good customer for life, and you want to have strong integrity and credibility and trust, just own up to a mistake that was done. And again, don't just bring a problem that maybe has a solution to go with it, that we can have a quick conversation and move on and keep working together and keep working to solve the problem at hand, or getting to the desired finish line that is next. I see it time and time again, and I hear it time and time again. We implemented this ERP solution. It went over budget by 300%. So we want you to provide us with a fixed price quote, guarantees that we're going to meet on time and on budget. And man, that's a hard conversation because it's just not that easy. It's not that
Yeah.
simple, and I wish it could be, right? But they clearly got burned, and somebody just took advantage of them. And so it's important for us as vendors to step into the light of ownership and say, I'm not going to contribute to the problem anymore. I'm going to say, hey, guys, we we screwed up here. We made a mistake.
Yeah.
And we're going to fix it. We're going to credit you XYZ hours, or we're going to throw another resource on this at no cost to you because we need to get to the go live date, which is coming up quick. We're going to make it right. We're going to make it happen because your success is more important than my success. But ultimately, your success is my success. And so I need to make sure I'm doing everything I can to support you, Mr. Customer. So, that's going back to the integrity. And I think, how you label this thing, the disrupting with integrity, like that's my LinkedIn headline, because just want to lead with as much honesty as we possibly can. Maybe it's going to bite me in the butt at some day, but I don't know. I've been a knucklehead enough to know that lying never solves any problems. So I'll just be honest.
Isn't it weird to think that honesty is the differentiator? Like,
yeah,
that's the thing that makes you stand out, is that you're going to be honest about what's going on. That's weird.
Yeah.
But in a lot of ways it's true. We'll talk to customers, and it's about being honest all along the way, right? If customer asks you for something and halfway through they change their mind on what they want, and they add different things to it, and it morphs into something it wasn't originally supposed to be, it's also not fair for you to be held to the same due date with more work at the same price point, right? And so I think along the way, we have to be honest with our customer and say, listen, I understand what you're looking for and I want to help you out. You're asking for this, this, and this now, when originally it was this. We're going to have to talk about what that looks like financially, as well as a timeline perspective. And people should be okay with that, right? Like, you go to take your car in for an oil change and they say, we also recognize that you need new wiper blades and your air filters are bad and this, that, and the other thing. Would you like us to change those? This is what it'll cost. They don't go, we'll throw it in for you. No worries, because we quoted you the oil change and this is all part of the oil change. We'll just throw it in for you. It's fine.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. And it's it goes back to expectation setting too, right? Like, I think every bad conversation. Well, let's take it even back to my EMS days, my EMT days. If I didn't set proper expectations with somebody that was feeling a little hostile that day, right? Maybe they were just having a bad day. Maybe they were drunk and they were looking to fight. And we just both come into this hard charge, and it's not going to end well for anybody, right?
Nope.
Nobody's going to be having a good time out of this. But if we can set really good expectations, also know that expectations are going to change. It's just getting ahead of it and just being honest about it and communicative about it. And I think the unfortunate thing is it's hard, right? Like, it's just hard to do. You've got to make the effort. And for somebody like me, I'm a maxed out extrovert, if you couldn't tell already. It's easier for me to have these conversations and fall on the sword, or not fall on the sword, and just have the conversations and pry it out. But not everybody's built like me. Not everybody is as confrontational in a positive way. I'm sure there's plenty that are confrontational in a non-positive way, but it's inherently not easy for everybody. And so I think that's where we as people need to give each other grace, right? Like, just understand not everybody's built the same way. And whether you're leading a software company, or Tony, you're leading your company, or a manufacturing company, or a small team here, knowing your team is the most critical thing you can be as a leader. But it's how the individual operates, and then how you get them all to operate together, with them complementing each other's weaknesses and so forth, right?
Which is a really hard thing to do. I mean, it's a difficult thing to build trust with people, and get people to stay in their lane is never the right terminology for that, but to own what they're doing and not worry necessarily about what everybody else has got going on and what they're doing, but like, focus on your job and your task, and the other stuff is going to be fine. If everybody focuses on what they need to do, then we're all going to be better. Does that mean that you ignore what the other person's doing? No, pay attention to it. And if you think there's an area of improvement, I think it's okay, in a kind, loving, encouraging manner, to say, that was great that you did that. Have you thought about doing it this way? Like, that doesn't always have to come from the top. That can come from a peer. And sometimes, if it's done the right way, it can be accepted better from a peer than it can be from from a boss or a manager or somebody else, because it's less embarrassing maybe.
Yeah.
Instead, what tends to happen is you have somebody will recognize something, and then they go to the next person in command and they go, "Hey, did you know that so and so did this thing?" And you're like, "No, I didn't know that. I saw them. That's what they did." Okay, did you say something to them? No,
No.
I didn't want to be a jerk. Okay, well, what do you want me to do with that? Like,
Yeah.
so now we have a bigger problem because I'm not the one that saw it. And if I bring it to their attention, what does that mean? That means that somebody else saw them do the thing. And then instead of talking to them like a human being, they went behind their back to go tell the next person in command to say, now you go do something about that. Well, how am I supposed to know that that happened? That person's going to know that somebody told me, and they're going to go, where did you hear this from? And then you have a he said, she said game on your hands, and you don't know what's what. And so, it's not a new idea, right?
No.
It's a biblical idea on how to handle this. And that's not a bad thing, because there's a lot of knowledge in the Bible. I don't know if y'all know this, but there's a lot of knowledge in the Bible. And one of those things is, if you see something that is wrong, call it out in a loving, encouraging, and caring manner, directly, right? One-on-one. So Alex, I see you do something. I'm going to say, hey, do you have a second? Yesterday I saw you doing that thing. It may not be the safest way to do that. I'm just letting you know, I did that once before. This is what happened. I care about you. I just want to make sure nothing happens. Just wanted to let you know. Right?
Yeah.
Easy, simple. But if Alex then doesn't, he goes, you know what? You should mind your own business. I'm going to take care of me. You take care of you. I'm not saying that would be you, but if that happens, like, Alex has been warned, there's been an initial conversation, right? If it happens again, sure, go get your manager and say, hey, just so you know, I already talked to Alex about this one time. Would you be part of the conversation with me? Just so he knows
Yeah.
that it's real, and it's a good practice, and that I'm not crazy and I know what I'm talking about. And then the three of you sit down and you have a conversation, and it goes very similar. Hey, Alex, remember when I talked to you about this thing? Well, I noticed that it happened again, and I just wanted to bring, Tony in on this conversation, and get his input on it, and make sure that we're all doing what's good for the company and keeping us all safe. Easy,
Yeah.
right? And if it keeps happening, then you got to go, listen, Alex, I don't think you're right for the organization. Debbie Fraley sent us a message, and she says, contemporaneous notes or it didn't happen. Document all conversations and meetings. That's a really hard. I mean, I agree, because we've had issues in the past where we don't document all the things and the issues and the conversations that happen. And sometimes it's just because, you think that as adults, we could just have a conversation and it's going to be done, right? It's going to be handled. And sadly, that's not the case. And even more sadly, in this litigious world that we're living in, we need to have documentation on the conversations that we're having when it gets to that level. But I do think that first level conversation doesn't necessarily need to be documented. Maybe it's like, we have the conversation and then I'll go tell my manager, right? Like, hey, just wanted to let you know, Alex did this thing. Don't worry. I already said something to him. This is what that conversation looked like. I just wanted to let you know and keep you in the loop. Perfect, right? Easy peasy.
It's absolutely right, man. The Army does a really good job of trying to promote that mindset in basic training. Now, it's a little extreme, right? So when you go through basic training, they use these really crazy terms that sound so silly, but it becomes part of your culture every day. So your friends, or not necessarily your friends, the people that you're going through basic training with, they're called your battle buddy, and so you can't go anywhere by yourself. You always have to have a battle buddy, and to help keep things even extra clean, if you will, like it has to be same-sex battle buddy. It's got to be, male, male, female, female. If you have a male and a female as a battle buddy team, that's a no-go. That's a lot of opportunity for bad things to happen. So anyway,
And if you don't know the difference, we should talk about that at another time.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the one things that they, or a lot of times what they do is, when they're yelling at you and screaming at you, they're constantly saying one of many phrases over and over again, which one of them is, police your battle buddy, which means look out for them.
Mm.
Don't let this problem get escalated to me as the drill sergeant, because if that happens, all of you are getting punished.
Oh.
Like this is team corporal punishment until you guys figure it out. And of course, we go through iterations of it, of a lot of push-ups and sit-ups, and it stinks, and everybody's moaning and groaning about it. But everything has a reason when you go through initial military training. Every step, every phase, every day, intentionality is through the roof, and that element there is to try to teach you to take care of one another before it becomes a bigger problem,
Mm.
whether it's safety or just doing the right thing or having a clean uniform or getting up on time. Right? It's accountability. It's accountability at its lowest form, and that's I think they do a good job of trying to instill it, whether it sticks or not. People are people, and they just move on and they do what they do. But um, anyway, that's one little story I wanted to share on that.
It's it's a struggle, and it is a really hard thing to train with people that have never been in that kind of environment. Like, I've never been in the military. That's not my thing. I respect the hell out of everybody that has. I just don't want anybody to try to kill me on a day-to-day basis. That is like, it's part of my, MO.
Sure.
I don't want a job where people are going to try and kill me. And I don't want to have to try and kill anybody else. I think
Yeah,
it works both ways. It's a good agreement that I have with the rest of the world. You leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. I'll care for you. That's
it's
about
a
it.
good one.
Uh, but I think it is a hard thing to get people to buy into the trust factor and looking out for each other if they've never had that in their lives before. And it can take a while to create that. Debbie mentions adopting an improvement versus a blame culture is key. Focus on improving the process versus assigning blame.
Yeah,
It's great, right? But it takes a long time to develop that shift in thinking, not just for the person bringing it to attention, but to cause that shift in the entire culture where people know it's okay. It's okay to call something out. They're not throwing you under the bus. They're not saying that you're an idiot. They're not saying that you're doing it wrong. They're looking out for the good of the organization. They're looking out for like their buddy, right? The reason that they're saying something is because they care about you, not because they want to get you fired or they want to get you
yeah,
demoted or they want to get you in trouble or they want to see you get yelled at. That's not it. It's for the good of the project, the process, the company, the customer.
yeah,
All those things have to come together. When we're building a 150,000 $150,000 laser welding machine, if somebody does something wrong or they use the wrong the wrong tape for the wires versus whatever it's supposed to be, that can cause a major issue for the machine, for the customer, for our reputation, for all those things. And so you have to call it out. It's not because so and so's a jerk. It's because they care and they want to see you have success and they want to see the whole thing work. But it takes a lot of trust to be able to do that. And as a leader, you also have to allow people to say, "Hey, Tony, you should have done this." And you go, "You're right. Thank you for telling me. I'm sorry."
yeah. Well, you touched on, without saying it, but you put the spotlight on the biggest component, right? It kind of boils down to ego, right?
Yeah.
Is it bruising my ego a little bit? And that to me, maybe it's silly because I'm a small business leader now, and obviously you are too, Tony. So maybe we're disconnected to a degree. What I'm about to say next, it's not crazy, I promise, but you'll get what I'm getting at here. Is
I can't
um,
wait.
I used to Yeah, right. I used to think that building communities within your workplace was just so silly, especially
Mm.
as like a 20-year-old. I just was like, God, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to associate with it, which was hilarious because at the time, my identity and community was all in emergency medicine and EMS and 911 and first responders. So it's kind of, pot calling the kettle black there. But you fast forward to now, right? Like a group of people, they need a community, whether that's obviously at home, where
Yep.
they live, and where they work. And it doesn't always have to be the same community. It probably needs some element of variety in there, but communities need to be able to not only support one another, but push each other
Hmm.
into, challenging and being a better, whether it's person, father, husband, leader of the HOA, if that's your thing, or project manager, or maintenance manager, right? Like, you need to be challenged, because you can get complacent. And then when complacent sits, its ugly brother mediocrity comes and shacks up on the couch in your living room with them, right? And then all of a sudden you're just kind of living in this swirl of, I don't want to say nothingness, but the effect of community is huge within an organization,
Yes.
and what you're a part of, and you need to be proud of your community, right? Like, you don't need to think it's silly. You don't need to think it's cheesy. Maybe it is a little cheesy from time to time, but on the same side of that, like, the community needs to have intentionality. Like, so again, people need community. They need a mission or a vision to fall behind, right? Like, for outside of work purposes, for a lot of us, it's religion, right? Like, it's whether you believe in the Bible, or you're in a different type of religion. That's kind of your moral compass and guide, maybe, so to speak. And then when you're at work, your vision is, how do I fit into the company profile, and how do I support the main mission? If it's manufacturing, right? Like, it's uptime and products out the door being sold. How do I affect that mission and help the entire company earn what we need to do to keep the doors open and the lights on and everybody employed? Or if it's within your community, how do I keep my neighborhood safe? How do I, create a fun place for my kids to grow up? So you need a reason to do something, right? Like, if you're
Right.
just wandering and you don't have, I don't want to say you don't have a leader that's not doing it, but if you collectively as a group are just wandering, just things are going to start falling apart at the seams. Safety, like you just mentioned, right? Like, we're going to be afraid to talk to one another. We're going to be afraid to call out problems. We're going to be afraid to do the right thing, because now we're just like, I'm just going to check the box. Like, we're going back to data collection. This is full circle, I promise. I had a facilities and maintenance manager ask me, within our product, this isn't a plug on the product, this, I promise, is a genuine question. He said, how many failure modes can you list within your product that can help support root cause identification of why a machine failed? And I was like, dude, we can put as many failure codes in there as the days are long. That's not the answer you need to hear, though. The answer you need to hear, though, is, do you already have a list of pre-identified failure modes or codes that are the easiest for your in-level technician to select? Just for example, if we want to keep talking about doing the right thing, making it easy for data collection, if somebody's trying to close a work order, and in EAM they're called problem codes, failure code. I can't remember what they're called in EM. Anyway, you hit the button, and if your drop down list is like 250 selection points, and they're all these garbled up letters in a different kind of naming convention and nomenclature, if you're like me, the first thing I'm looking for is the other button.
Mm.
And I'm hitting that, and I'm not putting anything in the text field as to why it's other. I'm hitting close, and we're calling it a day. That's poor data collection. We're not identifying why this machine maybe failed. The
Yeah.
technician level doesn't need to know why it failed. They just need to have, they need to put somebody down the right path to investigate. So, going back to good data collection, doing the right thing, this small thing affects the big puzzle. Is we need to make it simple for them. We need to have a culture that gives them the empowerment to put the right failure code or problem code in the work order, so the reliability guy can take a look at it and say, I need to go take a look at this, because Dan thinks it's electrical shortage, or it's a pressure valve issue, or I don't know. We're going to go find this, and then anyway, we discover that it was a big problem. We fixed it. We not only saved a lot of money, but we saved a lot of people heartache, headache, and safety issues all along the way. So again, it goes back to, very small things can make very big and powerful impacts within an organization, regardless of at what level you're at.
I agree with you 100%. I got distracted for a hot second because a woman who used to work
Sure,
here
man.
walked by to visit, and she's retired now. So that was my little wave,
Fun.
and I just sent her a message saying, "I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I can't
No,
grab you
all
right
good.
now." But
Yeah.
I've always since I came back to Alliance and been on board in a leadership role, I look at the company like a sports team,
Yeah.
and exactly what you're talking like. the coaches have no problems calling out players, right? And the leaders on the team have no problem calling out players because they all want to win a championship. That's what they're there for,
Yeah.
is to win the championship. And I look at Alliance as our sports team, and I look at the manufacturing landscape as our game. And the number at the end of the year, if we hit our goal, we win the championship, right? And there's fruits for everybody if that happens.
Yeah.
And so we all have to be comfortable in doing those things and calling out what needs to be called out so that we can win the championship. Uh, because that's always my goal, is win the championship and take care of the people around us so that we can continue to do that. And I think if you can look at your team, your company, as a sports team, it all starts to click a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
You got to have the right players on the field. If you don't have the right players in your organization, you're not going to win the games. If you're not going to win the games, you're not going to win the championship.
Yeah.
If you don't have the ability after a game to go look at the tape, like whatever sport you're thinking about, they're going back afterwards and they're looking at the tape and they're reviewing what worked, what didn't work, and how they, not so they can harp on it and say, now you're running laps afterwards, or you're if you're a hockey
Yeah.
fan, now you're skating, lines, you're doing all that stuff. That's not the purpose of going back and looking at the tape. The purpose of looking at the tape is to say, where were we successful and where did we miss the mark? How did we give up on the win? How did we lose this deal? How do we win this deal? Let's figure that out and sit down and break all those things down so that we get better for the next game. And sometimes the players need to have a players only meeting, and that's okay
Yeah.
also, where that's exactly what we were talking about before, where somebody has to call that out. And that's all part of maintenance and data collection and getting better and doing all those things, right? Like, you're maintaining your team, not just your equipment. And so you
Yeah.
have to have those little moments with your team. You have to have those moments with your culture and your organization. It's funny when you look at football team, right? Um, it's the craziest looking thing. They are all hyped up for each other. They're ready to play. They're doing their huddle, and they're like, in the middle, chanting, calling it out, getting ready. And everybody wants to be part of that, right? Like, if you're not in that huddle, you want to be in that huddle. If you're in the stadium, you're cheering along with it. You're so excited and hyped to be there, and you think, man, that's cool. I would love to be in the middle of that. And then, to your point, with culture and within the organization, you try to create that in your business. And you can have people that go, listen, we don't need the rah rah. We don't need all to be best friends. We don't need to do all this silly stuff. But on Sundays, when you watch the game, you go, man, it's so cool how they stick up for each other, isn't it? It's so cool in a hockey game when the star player gets cheap shotted and somebody's right there at their defense and they're fighting for him. Well, we
Yeah.
can have that in our organizations. And if we all had that in organizations, then the whole body of the organization is going to be stronger, and we're going to be able to get through those tough times, those lean times, the times when things don't go well, better collectively, because now we're all in this together and we're all trying to learn and grow and get better. And it's not me versus you, it's all of us versus them versus the competition that's out there.
Yeah.
But it's again, it's not, I wish it was an easy thing to just build, but it takes time.
Yeah. Takes time, effort, energy. A good friend of mine. Shout out to my buddy Daniel Allison. Him and I were having a conversation. He hosts a little local, I guess you could call it podcast series, but just engagement, where we were talking, and he says, "You know what, Alex? You know what really evokes change? What really drives, let's say, a sale or gets people excited about you and your product? It's energy. It's the level of energy you bring to the table." And it's true. It's
Yeah.
just, and you explained it perfectly. It takes that energy, that mindset that we're here to accomplish this mission, and nothing is standing in our way. And we're going to do it, and we're going to be better for doing it. And I'm going to support everybody around me that's part of it. So it goes back to, creating a good culture, creating a good community. So yeah, man, that's good stuff.
I love it. I love it. Debbie says she's a native of New York, and no surprise, I have no filter.
No filter, right?
Yeah, relying on documented processes to escalate non-performance or misses has helped me to build a very strong relationship with my team in Ireland, where personal relationships are prioritized over business relationships. It's business, it's not personal.
Mm. Mm. That's
Again,
complex right there.
and it's
Yeah.
hard to separate. It's hard to separate when it's business and it's not personal,
Yeah.
because even though we say that, it feels personal because we're personal beings. We're not business beings. We're personal beings, and so I think it's good to practice humility and getting out of that ego space and being willing to hear feedback from people and grow and it's really easy when you're not the smartest person in the room and you don't know all the stuff. That makes it really easy. Like we had a meeting yesterday and we're doing a repair on a customer's laser welding machine. And, our engineer and our service tech and the guy that's in charge of building the machines, they're all out there and they're talking to me. And I've never done any of those things. I've never built the machine. I don't run the machine. And I certainly don't service the machine. So they're talking to me, asking me like, how do we want to handle this? What do we want to do? And what does that look like? And I'm giving some feedback and listening. And I was like, hold on, I need even more brains in the room. So I went and got the other two engineers and I brought them in and I was like, okay, now let's talk about this collectively and let's figure out what the best course of action is. I want everybody's input. I want everybody working as a unit together. So nobody feels like at the end of the day, they can't say, well, that's not what I would have done. Nobody asked me what I wanted to do. I want all the voices, all the smartest voices in our company. I want them in the room to help make the best decision, so that we can have success.
Yeah. It's absolutely right, man. You gotta, well, it's science-based, right? Multiple data points to make good educated guesses, good educated decisions. Back to asset management, you need to collect right data multiple times over and over again to get a good trend on helping make the right decision. But I think the more important thing that you do with that, Tony, is you're silently fostering an environment where everybody has ownership and even the small problems that come before you, and they become a little bit more invested, right? Like they feel seen, heard, they feel trusted by you and everybody else on the team, and that those small things give people the freedom and flexibility to, I don't want to say be better, but be more of themselves, right? Like
Sure.
just give them a little bit more confidence to operate in the way that they see fit and they can do best within the parameters given before them. So it's awesome, dude. I love hearing that.
That's my hope. We'll see. I think it's working. I think it's working. It's hard to tell sometimes, but I think it's working.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
When you get, multiple generations all rowing the boat, it's hard to get everybody to row exactly in the same cadence, in the same direction. But it's the key is to do a little bit every day and continue to get a little bit better. Not every change is this big, sexy, sweeping change. Some of them are little, minor changes that make a big difference.
That's right. How can I be better today? That's kind of all I think about, to be honest, is what can I do today to just be a little bit better than I was yesterday?
Yeah. And when
Maybe
you're
baby
looking,
steps will get me there.
when you're looking at that with your business, and part of that is like, how do I manage my assets better? What do I need to do? What do I need to invest in? What products do I need to look at? Who do I need to talk to? Who's doing it better than I am?
Yeah.
What tape do I need to watch? What videos do I need to go watch? What should I watch on YouTube so that I can get the input that I need so that I can make the best decision for me and my company and my team going forward?
Yeah, that's right. Dude, I'm glad you mentioned that. Shameless self plug here.
Yeah,
I mean,
do it.
so that's something that we believe in wholeheartedly. Going back to user adoption and technology and how it's hard to achieve because of training, or insert any parameter there. Like we sat down about Well, my dad had this idea for a long time. I think we just had a hard time executing it because small companies, right? Everybody wears a lot of hats, so it just
Yep.
takes a while to get to some of these things. But anyway, we sat down about 2 years ago and said we just need to start cranking out short form how-to YouTube
Mm.
videos. 3, 4, 5 minutes on simple things within Hexagon EAM: how to open and close a work order, how to assign a part to a record or to an asset. Um, how to implement problem codes, or just little things that are free and anybody can have access to, that doesn't require them to burn a billable hour or spend money on training, but can get the job done today. Because the reality is, if your end users are being effective in the technology that you're giving them to help move the needle in the right direction, well, that has the ripple effect of upward. Everybody becomes happy, because if we're
Yep.
using the product the right way, then the maintenance manager's happy, then the operations manager's happy because the assets are running and we're going to hit production yields, and then the leadership team is happy because we not only spend a lot of money on this, but it's starting to work and we're seeing the benefits of it. And so I mean, we've been building our YouTube channel for the last 2 years. I think we're at like 150 videos, and we keep adding them weekly. But we're trying to just reduce barriers and knowledge to keep people informed to make good decisions. Whether you're a current Hexagon EAM user or not, you can go to our YouTube channel and get a pretty good idea of, like, does this product work for me or not? Or if I am currently using it, how can I get better at it without,
Yeah.
a very low entry barrier to it? And then, on that same note, going back to building community and being proud of what we do. Um, we Digital Thinker started a conference about 4 years ago called Streamline Conferences. Shout out to my buddy Greg Christensen with CMMS Radio. He sits on our advisory board. I know you know Greg
I
well, and
do. Good
that's how
guy.
I got connected to you, right? Like, Greg's a really great guy. But Streamline is our approach to building a community of users of EAM, but of asset managers and reliability practitioners and maintenance managers, and sharing knowledge, just sharing knowledge. I think, oh man, which video did I just see today? I think it was George Williams from Reliability X. Oh yeah, he mentioned it in a video we recorded together. Sometimes we need to learn from other people's mistakes, right? Like that's how we get better, but it's being open and sharing that. And so with Streamline, we bring people together for 4 days, and we have user-led sessions and subject matter expert-led sessions. We record all of these videos, and again, we put them on YouTube, and it's anybody can get access to them. Because
Yep.
my goal at the end of the day is, if you come to my conference or you come to my YouTube channel, or if you decide to want to do business with Digital Thinker, I just want you to be able to find resources as easily as possible, and not nickel and dime you, for one, but two, something that you can do to get the job done today. Because this is a little bit of a tangent, I'll keep it short, but like, another frustration I have is like long sales cycles. Not because I want to close deals quickly, but like, if I'm trying to sell or implement EAM to an organization that needs asset management so they can open and close work orders, but the sales cycle takes 6 to 8 months because of all the decision making process, and then we agree to finally buy it. Now we have a 6 month implementation timeline. Like, I'm telling the guys on the ground, it's going to be a year and a half until I can, alleviate your pain.
Yep.
I would be so pissed. I would not be invested in that product anymore at all. So, we got to find ways to make it easier, to make it quicker, without sacrificing quality, without sacrificing any of the integrity or anything else that goes with it. And there's some emerging technologies that are doing that, and they're doing a good job of it. But when it comes to complex manufacturing and complex asset management, like, sometimes it's just going to take a little while. But there's things that we can do. There's proactive measures like the YouTube training, for example, to give to end users before we hit go live. They can start getting familiar with the
Yep.
product, or they can attend a conference, understand what the community and the product and the leadership and the vision behind it is, right? Again, it all comes back to knowledge is power, and we shouldn't gatekeep it at every turn.
Well, and let's take that and go back to the sports analogy. If you show
Mhm.
up for the first game of the season, you haven't opened up the playbook yet, you're useless, right? And so before you get to game one, know what you're going to be running, know what your system is, know what your back end is, know why you're going in this direction. Get on board with the culture and the team and the ideas behind moving forward. Because
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we got the Bears last year. They were bad. The year before that, they were bad. This year, we all have
Yeah.
hope that they're going to be good. And part of that hope comes from the leadership and preparing the guys over the summer to be ready to go on day one. and move in that new direction and buy into the culture of what this is. And it takes everybody, and it's got to start at the top, and it's got to come and trickle through all that stuff. And so I think it's great that you have that YouTube channel. I would love when we're done for you to post a link in the comments so people can go take a look at that, and then we'll grab it and put it on our feed as well, so people have it. Scott Peters commented and said, cross-generational integration is the hard part. Some people are so used to the boss making all the decisions that they have a fear of joining in. Which,
there's
it's real.
Somebody out. Yeah, it's incredibly real. There's somebody out there in this world. Her name is Camber Parker Bowden, and I'll tag her in the comments later. But she is dedicating not only her life but her business to connecting generations. And generational integration is exactly what she's doing. Whether it's within manufacturing, consulting firms, I think we can all agree, right? Like, it is hard to bridge that divide between boomers and millennials, right? But even Gen X down to Gen Z, it's just our cultures are changing so quickly every year. And so I say I'm plugging her. She just wrote a book, and it's really cool. But I love Camber because she's just a great person, has high integrity, moral values too. But it's a real thing. Scott just mentioned, right? Like, we need to be addressing this, because I know I'm getting long winded, and I'm sorry, Tony, but
that's great. It's great.
The labor gap that we keep talking about, right? We all know that there's a lot of people retiring this year, and there's not as many entering the trades gap or the trades technical programs as there used to be. So we're having this labor gap issue. But more importantly, you have a large population of individuals, tribal knowledge, right, that have all of this information because they've been doing it for a long time. And then one day, and for a lot of organizations, it's happening right this second, those people are done. They put in their retirement work. Today is their last day, or maybe they took a half day today, and 12 p.m. was their quitting time. And if you haven't captured that knowledge, and if you haven't, as an organization, tried to capture it and then spread it to those below them, gosh, guys, you're just letting so much value leak at the seams. And
Yep.
It's not that you're trying to squeeze this intellectual property out of people, right? Like, when you have somebody that works for you for 25 years, they know a lot more about your business than even you do at this point. And you need to get that knowledge captured and written down, and be able to reference it and provide it to other people.
Some of my favorite people work at Westminster Tool, and I don't know if you know those guys. I love them. I love them so much, and they do such a good job with training and onboarding, and the way they do it is pretty brilliant. So when they're training somebody, so they've done this so many times that it's easy now. But so the first time they train somebody, the person that's being trained, it's their job to write basically the Bible for that process. So as they're being trained, they're writing down their notes on how to do all the stuff, right? And so now you have a document. So now that person that wrote that document, when it's their turn to train the next person, that person also gets the document. And if there's things that the new person has changed or new input that they can give person number 3 at that point, it's their job to then add that into the Bible of the process, so that it's a living, breathing document that never gets old. It never gets funky and stale. And you go, why do we do it this way? I don't know. It's the way we always did it. Well, but this is better. Yeah. Why didn't anybody think of that? Well, somebody thought about it 4 people ago, and it just never made it into the document. And so they just have this living, breathing document, and it's brilliant the way that it works. And it's the way that they can keep turning out top of the line molds with one of the youngest mold making teams in the country.
Cool.
They're all, I love them. I love them.
Yeah.
They do such a great job. So we're going to start wrapping up here. We're going to do 5 questions, but before we do that, we end every podcast with prayer. And so if you are with us and there are any things that you need prayer for, please put those in the chat so that we see them and we can make sure to pray for them. All right, you ready for some 5 questions? These are
Hit me, man.
the hard hitting ones. These are
Oh,
the difficult
I love
ones.
it.
These are the ones that
I
you
love
can't
it.
prepare for. If you could make one rule that everyone had to follow, what would that rule be?
Oh, um, listen more. Just shut up. Just
Oh,
listen. Stop talking. I'm the most guilty of it, but just listen.
you and I talked about that before we went live on how we're both pretty guilty about that.
Yeah, yeah,
But I love that. I mean, that's a call, right? That's listen more, speak less.
yeah. I challenge myself every day. Like you said before this, I know I get long winded like I am right now, and it's just I need to tell myself regularly, just shut up, man. Just shut up for like 5 minutes. So,
Oh, that's why Debbie's so smart. She's from Westminster Tool. She's a Westminster Tool
oh,
alumni.
look at that.
She
That's why
helped
she knows
develop
a
the
thing or two.
process that we're describing. Ah, well, that makes total
Wow.
sense. Now I know why I liked all your comments and thoughts today. Debbie, welcome to
Oh,
joining
gee,
our program there. Yeah, exactly.
love it.
And at least she's not calling me out and saying I'm a liar about that. She knows that the process is dialed in.
That's right.
All right, number 2, what is the one thing that you're most superstitious about? And it doesn't necessarily have to be superstitious, but maybe OCD about might be another way to put that. So,
Uh,
for instance, with me, I always have to put my right shoe on before I put my left shoe on. I don't know why. It's because
mm,
I'm a little bit crazy.
mm. Man, that's a tough one. You're right. These are hard questions. What am I a little superstitious about? Um, okay, here it is. So I I refuse to drive the exact same way to a destination every time I go there. Um,
Oh,
I I almost exclusively have to take a different way to either get there or get home every time I go somewhere. Now it's really hard with the grocery store that's like a half a mile down the road. There's really only one way to get there and one way to get back, and it drives me insane. But like when we go to my parents' house or my wife's parents' house, my wife is like, "Why are you going this way?" And I was like, "I can't go the same way. I have to go somewhere. I have to go a different way."
wow. My wife asked me
Yeah,
the same thing. Why are you going this way? And it's because I don't remember where I was going. So there's a
sure, I'll
lot
get
of
there real soon.
yeah, there's a lot of times that I might do the same thing you do, but it's not intentional. It's just because I'm not paying attention.
That's right.
But that's a fun one.
Yeah.
All right, if you swapped genders for the day, how would you spend your time?
Oh man. Um.
Well, with the
I
baby, you might be breastfeeding.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, if I could do that to help my wife, I would 1,000% would do that. I would unequivocally, no questions asked. I would step into that role right now if I could. I think another thing I've always had the classic term of FOMO, the fear of missing out, right?
Yeah.
But I think I'd like to stand in the ladies' restroom and hear the hot gossip for 30 minutes.
All
That's
right.
I want to hear want to hear what's going on in there. I
All
want to be
right.
privy to those conversations so I can I don't know, scratch that itch and say I've heard it and I can now forget about it.
Yeah. You can go, well, that wasn't all it was cracked up to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. That's good. If animals could talk, what would be the rudest and
Mm,
why?
mm. I would say chickens,
Oh,
um, because they're little dinosaurs and they just want to eat everything. You, the chicken next to them, they are opportunistic eaters and they're little bee holes. We used to have chickens. Long story short, the reason we don't anymore, Hurricane Helene came up and hit the upper part of South Carolina and western
yeah.
North Carolina. Well, my neighbor had a giant cedar tree that fell in my yard and it smashed their chicken coop. Chickens survived. But what they didn't survive was the raccoon attack that happened about 2 weeks later. And
Oh,
so anyway, we had to rehome a few and I had to bury a few. But uh, owning chickens for a few years, I learned that man, there's nothing they won't do to eat, and it. And if they get their mindset on something, they will be utter beeholes. I heard you ask this question to somebody else, and I heard cat,
Yeah,
and I think that's probably the most popular answer, right?
it
Because we have
is.
two
Yeah.
cats, and I'm ready to throw them out the window right now. I cannot stand these two cats that we have.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to say cats. I'm glad you asked that because I was thinking about it earlier and I forgot. But anyway, I didn't want to say cats when I saw the question come across the screen.
No, I think I just learned that about chickens not too long ago. I thought chickens ate like chicken feed and seeds and stuff. And then a friend of mine has chickens and she said that they're carnivorous. They'll eat other chickens. They
Yeah.
are relentless.
So I do not a lot, but I do some deer hunting, and I do it. Part of me is this is the tinfoil hat moment. I don't like relying on like the supermarkets or buying my food from other
Sure.
places.
Sure.
That's why we got chickens. We got chickens before the big egg price crisis happened, and so I was like laughing. Oh, I spent my $1,200 on my chicken coop and all these chickens, and now I'm getting free eggs that cost me $1,200. But anyway, but so I deer hunt a little bit, and I saw on this forum that some of the guys in like your neck of the woods, Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, they don't waste much of anything at all. So when they harvest a deer and they get done quartering it and all that other good stuff, they'll throw the carcass in the chicken coop and they'll pick it to the bones. There's going to be nothing left.
That's
And so it serves
crazy.
two purposes, right? Yeah, it is crazy. It's absolutely insane. And then the more you think about it, another person told me that chickens are the gateway to conspiracy theories. 100% true. They really are. But the more you think about it, like these chickens are dinosaurs, man. Like they say alligators are still the dinosaurs living today. Nah, man, it's chickens,
Chickens.
bro. It's chickens. Yeah, they're dinosaurs.
It I like the misinformation out there about farm life is crazy. That chickens are carnivorous. Like I heard that about pigs, right? Pigs will eat anything you put
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
pen.
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't realize that about chickens. That
yeah,
blows my mind. I saw a video the other day of now it's video on the internet. How do you know what's real? But it was
yeah.
like, this bird eating a chipmunk or something. It was like, what is happening? I heard chipmunks are becoming more and more carnivorous, or squirrels.
Wouldn't be surprised, but that's
I thought
crazy.
I thought
Wow.
they just ate nuts.
Yeah,
Now it turns out everything is trying to kill you and eat you,
we're just the apex predator, man.
which is terrifying. All right, last one. How many? Now this is kind of applicable to you. You're not there yet, but how many kindergarten kids could you take in a fight before you were outnumbered?
Oh man, the the barrier to this is low. Probably three, probably three or four. Man, I have a hard time keeping up with my one toddler. I can only imagine if I got ganged up by three or four of them. I'm also a gullible person. If you had the right toddler, he wouldn't even need to fight me. He could just talk his way into getting me to do anything. Like I would just believe him. I would just do his bidding if he was smart enough, which will probably be my child, to be honest with you. So
Well, then good luck. Get ready for that one, I guess. And we'll
yeah.
go from there. All right. Alex, do you have any other points that you want us to hit before we pray and get out of here?
Tony, I just want to say thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you. I think I left a comment on a post saying I'd love to jump on your show and just have a conversation, and we had a fun conversation. I had no idea where it was going to go, and I thought that was great. So thank you for having me on today. And the only other thing that I think I want to leave with people is um, just try to be a little bit better every day. You don't have to
Yeah.
make big strides every single day, but just be a little bit better every day. Start where it's at home. Start at home. Be a little bit better for your kids. Be a little bit better for your wife. Once that starts to hit, then you'll see it improve in work. You'll see it improve in the community. And don't do it just to get the notoriety of it. Right? Do it because you care for your people.
It's a really good thought. A couple weeks ago, I went to a youth, not a youth retreat, a men's retreat with my brother, my son, my dad, and it was great. And one of the things they talked about that I think is important for men is men in generally don't have a hard time standing up to the big things in their lives, right? Like they can fight the big things, right? They're ready. They're ready to go. It's the little things in our lives that trip us up and cause us to stumble over and over again that lead to the big things that cause us to fall. And looking at my own life, to your point, like, be better for the people that you care about, your wife, your family, your team, whatever that looks like. I am notorious for not putting my clothes away. Like, I hate it. I had Clothes Mountain in the corner. They sat there for like 7 months. I would just add to the Clothes Mountain. And while we were at this conference, I realized that I wasn't doing a good job loving my wife because it stresses my wife out. And what I'm telling her is, like, what I want is more important than what you want. I want the comfort and ease of throwing things in the corner, not realizing how it was making her feel. And I realized that if I want to love God more, then I have to love my wife more. Which means that I got to do the things that I don't necessarily want to do because they're going to make her happy, not make me happy. And so I went home after that conference and I picked up all my clothes. I put the stuff and I don't say this because I'm awesome. I say this because I needed a check, and I put the stuff that needs to go to Goodwill in the Goodwill bag, and the stuff that needs to go to the dry cleaner in a dry cleaner bag. I picked up all my stuff. I put it all away. I did all the things, and I was feeling good about that. And then the next day there were more clean clothes on the bed. And I thought, well, this is a fine. How do you do? I got to do it again now. And I did it again. And every day since then, I come home, my pants or my shorts, whatever I'm wearing, go get put away. I change my shirt, that goes in the hamper. The corner is still clean. And that, I'm not going to lie, that's me bragging a little bit, saying that I'm being intentional with the things that I'm doing. Because if you want change to happen, you have to be intentional about it. It's not just going to take place on its own.
That's right. Absolutely right. It's good stuff.
Well, I think that's a fun place to end. Alex, do you have any prayer requests?
Just be with a couple of my close friends. They have kids that have medical special needs. One's got a born with a heart defect, and he's almost 3, and there's still a lot of unknown in his life moving forward, and they just need a lot of love. And so it's that'd be my big one for us today.
All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for this conversation. Thank you for bringing Alex and I together, that we could become new friends and share in our thoughts and our conversations and our passions. And we just pray that you would go before us and be with everybody that's listening today or in the future, that you would bless them in the ways that only you know how. We pray for continued health and happiness for our families. But more than our happiness, we pray for holiness. We pray that you would be with us and watch over us and make us different. We pray for those kids and those families that are struggling with sickness and disabilities, that you would give them the strength and the comfort that they need, and the hope and trust that you are the only doctor that will be able to fix them, either in this life or the next. And we pray for the Warren family, Brian and Marcia and his son, Jake, as Jake continues to battle with cancer at 4 years old. God, it's hard to understand how this is a good thing, but when we trust in you, we know that you will use all things for the good of those who believe, and it will be for your glory. And so we give you all the praise and the glory and the honor, and we love you and we trust you. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Good stuff, Tony.
Alex, brother, thank you for initially reaching out and being part of the podcast, being part of manufacturing in the U.S. I feel like we covered a lot of things, but I think there's a lot more that we could probably cover in the future. So would love to have you back sometime and see your thoughts on so many other things. So appreciate you coming on and spending about an hour and a half with us and sharing your story. Appreciate you.
Thanks for listening. Likewise, Tony. Take care of yourself.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Yeah.
All right, bye. All right, that was Alex Bolan. I want to thank everybody for watching and listening and being part of the Manufacturing Alliance show. It was great to have the comments and the feedback. It's so much fun when we get to have some interaction with you, the listener, the watcher. It's fun to do this show live because you never know what's going to come up and what the comments are going to be and where the conversation is going to shift and where it's going to go. But that's what building relationships is all about. That's what having conversations is about. It's not scripted. It's not planned. it happens and it's natural and it's organic. And those are the things that make a difference. So I love having you all here with us. I love telling the stories about what's happening with U.S. manufacturing, and we want to keep doing that. So if you want to be part of the Manufacturing Alliance, we want to have you as part of the Manufacturing Alliance. If you'd like to be part of the show, or you know somebody that would be a great fit to be part of the show, please, please, please email us at tony@alliancelasersales.com. We want to continue to tell the stories of those in the manufacturing space, the successes, the failures, what's happening, what's not happening, the tips, the clues, the leadership stuff. All of it matters, right? We're all trying to get better together. And so let's do that. Let's keep connecting. Let's keep telling each other stories, because that's the only way that we're going to continue to get better. I want to thank you all for being part of this. Quick reminder that we are going to be at, let's do that one first. We have the golf out. Oh, you got to shut that off first. Come on, Tony, pay attention to what you're doing here, would you? Golf outing, September 19th. Go register at alliancegolfouting.com. We want to see you all there. There are spaces still available, but they are running out. So get in, make sure that you are a sponsor, that you can come play golf and be ridiculous with us. Then right after that, I'll see you in Florida at the National Plastics Conference for the Plastics Association, shaping the future together. It's going to be a great time. I hope to see you all there. And then right after that, we will be at Med Device Boston, September 30th through October 1st. I hope to see you all there too. And if we do, man, wouldn't that be fun? All three of those places, all of us hanging out, being best friends. It would be amazing. All right. On behalf of myself and Alex and the Manufacturing Alliance world, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I want to say take care and God bless.